The Kimberley coast in the far north of Western Australia is a wild, dangerous place where few people ever go. Huge, relentless tides surge between the rocky islands and over the coral reefs. And the fishing is spectacular.
See you later, mate.
Malcolm Douglas, based on his crocodile farm in Broome, spends long periods exploring this remote part of Australia. These expeditions are rough, tough, and often dangerous. Come along as he sets out on another remarkable adventure. Malcolm's heading 200 kilometres north from Broome up the Dampier Peninsula to launch his boat at One Arm Point. The Kimberley is a vast mass of uplifted sandstone, eroded by spectacular gorges. Only the most experienced travellers can take on the extreme conditions of this wild corner of Australia, with its huge rise and fall of tide, conflicting currents, countless islands and uncharted reefs. For Malcolm, it's a challenge. He knows this coast well. With a mate or two and his dog Bundi, he'll live for weeks on the sandy beaches and rocky outcrops. This time he's heading for a particular bay. It's impossible to find without detailed local knowledge. The boat has to be manoeuvred through the deeper channels on the dropping tide to a point where the water spills from the higher reef.
Now up on the reef in front of me where that waterfall is, where we just came in and put the boat down, is a large area where the water gets trapped on the reef at low tide. And in this waterhole, all the fish congregate, and it is one of the best fishing spots that I know. In a few minutes, I'll just walk up here and I'll show you what Kimberley fishing is all about. Just down in front of me there are schools of golden trevally, jack, flag, you name it, I've got them here. I only get half a dozen fish here, and then all the others will clear out because they'll get spooked, but we only need 3 or 4 for feed. Just teeming with them, I can see hanging around me right over. Give it a bit of a flick. I've got a popping lure. It'll spin, it'll go along the surface to show you what fishing's all about. Oh, lost him. Nice big foot, oh. Hey. Second cast, 30 seconds of fishing, already got my dinner. That's what Kimberley fishing is all about. Whoa boy, whoa boy, whoa boy. Come on, hey, come back here. Let him go, I'll get another one.
Malcolm enjoys trying out different kinds of lures. many of them handmade by mates. When the rising tide pushes across the reef, it's time to go. The sea is calm between the islands strung out along the Kimberley coast, ideal for travelling long distances. Boats rarely venture into landlocked, secure bay. It's too remote, a dangerous place of cross currents and whirlpools stirred up by the funneling tide. For years, governments have discussed how this extraordinary power might be harnessed for electricity.
Well, that's really awesome, isn't it? This is the main entrance into Secure Bay, and this is quite different to all the other tidal gorges I've been to over the years. It's in a very remote place, right up on the top of the Kimberleys at the bottom of Collier Bay. And a lot of bureaucrats over the years have had this dream of damming this and using the power of the tide to turn turbines to create electricity. I guess it's a wonderful dream, but I really just prefer the wilderness as it is, don't you?
From Secure Bay, Malcolm heads further north to a small reef-locked island, 30 nautical miles from the mainland. At high tide, this is one of the best fishing spots on the coast. They pitch camp on a small coral beach, the only stretch of flat ground for miles around, and wait for the tide to change. In the shallows, black-tip reef sharks prowl impatiently. And with the tide come the fish, skimming just ahead of the sharks. high tide on the reef is the best time for trolling.
Oh no! Ah, look at this! Ah. And that's what Kimberley fishing's all about. You try and catch yourself a feed, and these black-tipped reef sharks come in, and before you can get your dinner out of the water, you've got these sharks hanging on. I had a metre out of the water and he's still hanging on. A couple of bites, and there's not much left of a 10-kilo trevally. Sharks all around me now. So what I might do is I'll just throw this back into the water, and we'll give you a look at just what all these sharks can do.
The following day, the men head out again across the reef to the shark-infested waters.
Last night when I was lying in my swag, I was just thinking about all these sharks. You can see they're around the back of the boat already. Whenever you anchor and you've caught a couple of fish, a little bit of the blood runs out of the stern here and brings the sharks up very quickly. And I thought, what would happen if I fell in there? Perhaps nothing, but I'm sure if I had some sort of cut on me, these sharks would go into a feeding frenzy very quickly. So what I've done is tied a bag and a life jacket and an old pair of pants together with a couple of floats. I've placed a couple of fish inside, which, if you stretch your imagination a bit, it looks like me. So what I'm going to do is throw this over the back here and see what happens. It's all very quiet at the moment. I don't expect the sharks to rush straight in. Give it a couple of minutes and see what happens. Well, that was pretty scary. It puts me off swimming up here. I'm just going to pull it in, and I want to get my plastic bottle that was in the bottom of the pants. It's fallen out and taken off with the currents. I want to get it before I lose it.
With the fish on the bite, the men are reluctant to leave, and at sundown they're stranded. At midnight, they'll float off. But in the meantime, with a little ingenuity, Malcolm sets up the Primus burner well away from the fuel-laden boat and boils the billy. Morning finds them again waiting for the tide. Malcolm calls this wait a while country, always waiting for the tide to come in or waiting for it to go out. The dorsal fin of a good-sized fish catches Malcolm's keen eye.
I only get a shot like that about once every 10 years up here. Always carry a hand spear. In a survival situation, they're essential. We're stuck on the reef here, waiting for the tide to come up. We may not get any fish today because we've got strong westerly winds, so we can eat this fish raw, and later on we can cook it. It's a beautiful eating fish. Just have a look at that wire. See how it bent it up? That's just almost too weak for this sort of fish, but I don't use these a lot. But when you need a feed, you can always pick a fish up with one of these if you practice a lot. You've got to really practice before you're any good with a hand spear. I learned how to use a hand spear up in Arnhem Land with the Aboriginal people in the early 1960s. Practice day after day, hour after hour. Always carry one on the boat. Don't use it a lot. But when you pick a feed up like that quickly, it's well worth it. When you're out on the islands and you go to camp overnight, there's not always much firewood. So you can just take a fillet off a fish. Just get rid of that skin there. Just take that skin off quickly, and you can just take a bit of fish and you can eat it raw. And it's tough, but it's sweet and very good for you. The Japanese are famous for eating raw fish, and if you really upmarket, you can bring some vinegar and a little bit of onion, which we still have in the boat. So, tell you what, that fish is nice. Now, chuck the onion in there, some vinegar, and we'll just marinate the fish, 15 minutes to a couple of hours, and it's very nice. You can do this in the boat too. If you're caught anywhere, anchor off at night, you can't get ashore, you catch yourself a fish, bit of vinegar, and it's not too bad. I'm just taking out these small pieces, dropping them in the vinegar and onion, and leave it there for a couple of hours, and it'll be very nice. I haven't got a lot of vinegar in there because we're out in the bush for quite a while. We don't want to waste it all, but that's only been in there for 3 or 4 minutes, and already the flesh is starting to turn white. Here it is, half an hour later. It's marinated, the flesh is nice and white, and it breaks apart, and it is beautiful and sweet.
At sunrise, Malcolm begins the long journey to a remote corner of the northern Kimberley, the Hunter River. Two days later, the boat passes the eroded rock formations that mark the river mouth. The pockets of rainforest here are the home of a rare snake that's never been filmed. A mate of Malcolm's, John Weigel, from the Australian Reptile Park in Gosford, has been trying to locate this snake for years. Malcolm is to rendezvous with John, who's walking overland.
John Weigel! Woo!
But there's no sign of John's party. Malcolm's hoping a shot from his Magnum will draw a response. Working with crocodiles permits him to carry a handgun in case of emergency. "48 hours later, there's still no contact. The pre-arranged plan was to meet here, but the men are now well overdue, and it's decided to search the next river system. Malcolm leaves a note to say he'll return in 3 days' time. It's possible John and his party might have reached the headwaters of the Roe, so on the rising spring tide, he motors as far as possible up the river. As the tide drops, there's a dramatic change. The water literally disappears, exposing huge boulders. Malcolm's in trouble. He could be stranded here for weeks, and John's party is depending on him.
We came up the river right to the top on the big tide yesterday afternoon, put the boat up here so we could have a good night's sleep. And during the night, the tides dropped off. Now, the tides during the day are a lot higher, but I can tell you I'm a very worried man, because if we don't get the boat off here around about 1 o'clock this afternoon, we won't get out of here for 2 to 2.5 weeks. And it's that hot and it's that enervating. I'm not looking forward to waiting 2.5 weeks, and I'm very worried about the other guys that we're looking for at the moment.
It's decided to unload everything, including 600 litres of fuel, so the boat will float clear of the rocks when the tide does come in. The tides are dropping off, and if they don't get the boat down to the water's edge, they'll be stuck for days. A desperate attempt to manoeuvre the boat free on logs fails. high-frequency radio is moved to a rock face, well away from the boat, and contact is made with a helicopter on the Mitchell Plateau. The pilot offers to search for the men and get back to Malcolm within a day or two.
Yeah, we're getting you very faint, mate, but that's okay.
Would you like me to try and contact them? Do you think you might be out of range, over?
Very relieved, he heads off for a feed of fresh fish.
I've just walked up the gorge to where the salt water and the fresh water meet. Whenever you find a spot like this at the top of any of these Kimberley rivers, it's usually a really top place to catch a fish. Very few people come up to these places, so the type of lure doesn't really matter because the fish are uneducated. I've just got a little homemade wooden cedar lure here, green and black. Drop it on, go down there, and I reckon I could get a couple of beautiful jack for lunch, just below that waterfall there.
His first catch is an undersized barramundi, so he lets it go. Almost every cast brings in a nice pan-sized mangrove jack.
The best way to cook your fish out here in the bush is straight onto the coals, but no flame. The flames will cook it, burn it, give it an awful taste. Don't scale the fish. You can gut it if you like. Straight onto the coals there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use the aluminium foil, which we do at home on the Sunday barbie. Lie it out. This way, if you cook it in the foil, gut it, because the skin is very nice cooked this way. Just straight in there, the way we do it at home. Straight on the coals. Leave it for 10 minutes and it's just beautiful. Mangrove jack is just about my favoured fish, probably even better than barra when they're fat. That is just so sweet because it was fat when I caught it. A fish that is skinny, in other words, when you gut it, if it hasn't got any fat in it, it won't taste any good. It's got lots of fat in it, which this one did. It'll have plenty of juice in it and it'll be very sweet.
The following day comes the news they've been waiting for. The helicopter pilot has picked up John Weigel and his team. Everyone's relieved and excited to have finally made contact.
Just keep away from the water.
Beautiful too. So what actually happened, John, from last Tuesday to when we've met this morning?
Well, Malcolm, we tried to, according to our plan, walk across the
plateau from Mitchell Falls all the way to the Hunter, but wasn't more than about a day's hike, and we found out that the country was much rougher than we thought. We went gorge over gorge over gorge. After one day's hike, we'd only traversed 5 kilometers. We made the decision it was better to turn back and try and get a helicopter in to meet up with you on schedule.
There you go.
If we don't get that boat off today, we're going to be here for 9 days.
We?
Yeah, well, you can't move.
For hours, everyone, including the chopper pilot, pitches in, picking up timber to slide the boat out. In the deep gorge, it's hot, exhausting work.
I'll take it. Just hang on to the end. Nice and steady. Right. Watch your leg, John. We'll drop it. Right. Protect it. Righto, position your feet on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got an inch. Righto. Breather. 1, 2, 3.
The boat's gradually edged into position, ready to manoeuvre it out on the rising tide later in the day. It has to be moved at least 20 metres before there's any chance of it floating.
Whoa! Stop it. Ready to take off. You want to just sort out these ropes? Anchor will hook on there. I'll just check it though.
After so much effort, the boat's in danger of sliding stern first into the mud, so the anchor's wedged behind a rock.
That's it. Can you go towards me now? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, he's ready to fly. We got him.
With the boat now ready for reloading, the pilot heads back to base, and the men can concentrate their efforts on looking for the elusive rough-scaled python. Next morning, everyone's relaxed as they head for a particular pocket of rainforest where they'll search once again for the snake, so rare that an adult specimen has never been seen alive. For years, on his annual holidays, John Weigel has been scouring the rainforest, hoping to find this unique reptile.
Now, what's your program for the next week or so, John?
Well, we're going to have a good look in this rainforest patch here. This is one of the best patches of rainforest in the whole Kimberley. And that's the reason we're up here, really, is because the fauna in this rainforest area of the Kimberley is absolutely unique. A lot of the reptiles we're going to see have never been described. Some of them have been described only in the last 5 years to science. But the one we're going to look for in particular is the rough-scale python.
And that's why I've come up, isn't it? Because this particular python you're looking for has never been filmed or never been photographed. Well, that's not quite right. Didn't you find one last year?
We found a juvenile last year and photographed it, a nice little baby. But I still haven't seen an adult rough-scale python in the flesh. No rough-scale's been filmed before, and this will be our ideal opportunity. The climatic conditions are good. This rainforest looks terrific, and we'll give it a good shot.
Days are spent combing the vine thickets, hoping to turn up any evidence of snakes. Trent spots something in a deep crevice.
He's hung on to you, has he?
He's got a good hold.
It's a
Very
giant
strong.
cave gecko, a very aggressive lizard with a savage bite.
Oh, he got strong jaws.
Hey, John! He's got a cave gecko here!
Oh, that's better.
One of the largest geckos in Australia. It's found only in the northern Kimberley and western Arnhem Land.
Got a little
Foot on their tail.
matter of.
Now, what is that, John? That's a...
The common tree snake is a harmless distraction from the search for the rough-scaled python.
You're really good climbers.
Yeah.
Heading for that tree behind you.
How come these snakes can climb better than the others?
They're really well adapted for it. They have a keeled row. Finn pops himself full of air. You'll never get him out in 100 years.
The Kimberley rock monitor is one of the most striking of all the goannas, with its distinctive body markings and exceptionally long tail. It flattens its body to hide in deep, narrow cracks in the rock. John calls it the Ferrari lizard because it's so fast and sleek.
Quite nice, nicely neatly into crevice.
Like much of the Kimberley fauna, there's very little known about this beautiful reptile.
The tail is nearly 3 times the length of the body, which makes it one of the... Got him? Yep. Is that what he is?
Yep, definitely Felicipata. Boy.
Another extraordinary animal is the fringe-toed velvet gecko. Recently discovered and described, it lives only in this remote northern Kimberley region.
Very calm, isn't it? Yeah, he doesn't seem to be that worried about the situation.
Well, we better put him back on.
Let's see what else we can find.
Late on the third night, the men are excited. Just for a few seconds when they thought they'd found the elusive rough-scaled python. But it's only a common species known as a children's python. Its defense is to roll up into a tight ball and wait until the predator loses interest. All night and into the morning, the hunt goes on.
Rock-scale python! Where are you? We're going to the fig tree! Rock-scale python, I don't believe it! Oh, it's beautiful! Play the whistle again! Get Malcolm! Oh, I don't believe it.
Oh, man, it's just not even gonna... Obviously, he's wait. Whoa! I tell you what.
Geez, he's not very happy.
I think he was
The country is so rugged and so remote that in over 200 years of European settlement, this is the first time that this snake has ever been filmed alive.
I can't believe it. Rough scale python, hey? How many years have I been trying to get one of those?
Wow, feel those scales.
Okay, well, we don't want to frighten you. But I think
Go try and hold it there for Mitchell. That's definitely a bird.
In a frightening display of aggression, the python reveals long, curved teeth. Previously known only from 2 dead specimens in the Western Australian Museum that were collected in the early 80s, herpetologists have been trying to find a live animal ever since. John Weigel believes that it lives in the rock crevices and hunts in the trees. The huge teeth and gaping jaws are perfectly adapted for grabbing birds and small mammals, such as native rats. Malcolm has been deliberately vague about the exact location of the snake. It's classified as rare and endangered, and there's always a concern that unscrupulous collectors will find specimens to smuggle out of Australia.
Calm down now.
Yeah.
This is the first one that's ever been filmed, isn't it?
This is the first film of a rough scale python.
I'll give this back to you, I think.
I would say this is the Kimberley ecological equivalent to the green tree python. I'll bet you these blokes are living most of their life in the trees and ambush feeding birds and rats and so on that come into these fruit trees. God, it's beautiful, isn't it? Very, very rough to touch, very keeled scales. This is the only python in the world with keeled scales. Very unique part of the Kimberley rainforest fauna, and I've been looking for this fella for years. This is my holy grail.
Non-venomous, pythons constrict their prey to death.
Tail tip.
What I can't work out, John, is how it's taken so long to find this snake.
I'll tell you what. I've been coming up here. This is about the 10th trip to the northern Kimberley for me. And apart from that little juvenile that my offsider Trent found last year, along with me, this is the first one I've seen.
But why can't you collect a few of these and start a captive breeding program for them so we can learn a lot more about them?
Well, I think an application needs to be lodged to do just that. I think the zoological community in Australia needs to get onto animals like this. These are unique components of our fauna. And a lot can be learned. I mean, that behavior we just saw with that defense, which we just filmed, that has never been reported in anything like this before. That's completely new. There you go.
Now, what would this animal be eating?
Oh, birds. Look at the length of those teeth.
Because of those huge teeth?
Yeah, that gets through the feathers. This is, now that I've seen one, an adult, I can tell you it's just ecologically got to be similar to a green python. It's got the same huge bulbous jowls, very tall head to accommodate those long teeth, and that's to get through the feathers and grab those birds.
Well, what do you think? A few still photos and let him go?
This is going to be the most photographed python in Australia,
and then
we'll let him go. Procedure does it? No. I'll show you what. See where he goes.
John reluctantly releases the snake that's been his obsession for so long. Within the hour, Malcolm begins the long run back to Broome, and John and his mates fly out of the wilderness, heading back to Sydney. Malcolm's keen to get amongst the fighting barramundi on the other side of the Kimberley, north from Wyndham. In part 2 of Kimberley Adventure, Malcolm reaches the Berkeley River, where the mighty barramundi are on the bite. He travels through spectacular gorges, spends weeks attempting to reach the tidal rush at Talbot Bay, meets up with colourful Kimberley wildlife, watches a kilometre-long waterfall form as the huge tides drop off, and experiences the danger of the rushing, rising tide. Be sure to watch Kimberley Adventure Part 2 with Malcolm Douglas.